Hello, Patricia. Thank you so much for joining me. I am very excited to introduce you to whoever's watching. Tell me a little bit about you and all the amazing things you get up to and how you got to where you are today, please.
Hi, Michelle. So grateful and so honored to be with you in this amazing conversation we are about to have. And yes, just who am I? I call myself a human archaeologist and soul alchemist. As I, first of all, I couldn't find a better name to describe what it is that I do because I like diving into the depths of who and what is going on in us humans and also in the energetic field. And so I thought an archaeologist really dives deeply into um, things, or in my case, humans.
Yeah.
And so to discover gems, to discover hidden pearls. And so this is why I chose this name. And The Alchemist is a name that I truly love because I love this way of figuring out and finding the best combination and discovering all the potential of someone, and so
Yeah.
to develop together.
And what I really like about alchemy and the whole the name that you use, both of them, archaeology and alchemy, well, they sound nice, first of all. And alchemy is also about breaking, changing. So you're transforming and you're breaking everything down and you're making something, or bringing the parts of something out that wasn't maybe always visible before.
Right, exactly. And you asked me how I came to where I am right now.
Yeah,
So
it's a long
this is
question.
a long and winding road. So how many hours do we have?
We can do it in episodes.
Yeah,
So
no,
this is one.
just in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I used to be a school teacher and also a teacher's trainer. And this was because I really loved working with kids and also then with adults
Mm.
and help them become their very best version and discover their true potential and see them. And when we last had a conversation, you talked about the weirdness, and
Yeah.
I love seeing people grow and even grow into their weirdness. This is what makes me happy,
Mm.
to see that people can be or discover who they really are and can be and embrace who they are.
Yeah.
And so then I changed because my body showed me that it is time for a change. I developed into doing more of, I could call it coaching, which is not the word that I want to use.
I know it's such a difficult word that I've been struggling with that word all week. So I think that we must come up with something new because I also
Yeah.
don't think it's coaching what you do.
It
Uh,
is guidance, it is mentorship. Um, yeah,
mm,
something like that.
yeah.
So, and I have been into so many trainings, deep apprenticeships, all around psychology, energy psychology, and creativity. And so I thought, why not try out to build my own business?
Yeah.
And so, again, a long and winding road in the last 5 years now,
Yeah.
and through trial and error, and
Yeah.
through figuring out that I am not a copy, but I am the original, um,
Exactly.
I finally landed where I am right now.
Brilliant. I love that. And I love um how your words, because you have different tools that you use. Um and one of them is to do with words specifically. So I think that's maybe why you also so aware of how words make us feel
Yeah.
and what they mean to us. Because, as you know, I really struggle with words. I feel that they limit our ways of communication. So tell me a
Didn't I
little
didn't I tell you that I totally love your newsletters because you are the most amazing wordsmith? Didn't I tell you?
bit. Thank you, though.
So, um, you wanted to talk about logosynthesis, the
That's it.
method
Yeah.
that helps people really get rid of all the clutter in the mind, in the energetic field. And this is just really rapidly and sustainably. And I discovered this method around 7 years ago, and I did this deep apprenticeship, and I was really wowed by it, as I am someone who doubts a lot of methods.
Yeah.
But this one is one of the most amazing tools that I use in my practice, in my daily practice with myself, with my family, and my clients.
Mm.
And it helps you easily once you discover what is blocking you. And that doesn't have to be like a traumatizing story,
Yeah.
but it could be something that symbolizes what is blocking you, that comes up during the conversation. And through 3 easy sentences, you get from limited to liberated.
Mm.
And you open up. And I just today found that it's all about when you think of those muscles that are really closed,
Yeah.
it opens up the muscle so that the pearl can really
Yeah.
come out and shine
Yeah.
without forcing anyone.
Mm.
Yes.
I love that. And that's kind of the theme for you, I would almost say, is um, another tool that you use is human design, which is also kind of finding that language, that base of who we really are.
Yeah.
Hence, where we're going with the masterclass or wisdom whispers, as I've now been calling it, um, about living from the inside out.
Yeah.
And it takes a bit of work, I think, constantly to really connect with that inside, or to remember that the outside isn't that important.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And it's just yesterday I worked with a 13-year-old girl, and I thought it is so, so important to be mindful in
Mm,
education, and to be mindful in how we treat the younger and
yeah.
what we say to the younger, because she told me stories about her upbringing and why she now suffers so much. And she has a lot of diagnoses,
Mm,
that is anorexia, and that is depression and ADD and stuff, and
yeah.
which are all labels.
Yeah.
But she holds on to those diagnoses. And so I think the earlier we can really pay attention to not manipulating our kids so much, the easier the process is.
Yeah.
But once you're around 40 or 50, it might take some time to open that muscle and to come
Yeah.
back to this pearl that you are.
That's it. Yeah. But it's such a conditioning for us, within the systems, and I know we've spoken about this quite a bit, and labels and things like that, to have something external that defines us, which then becomes the narrative that we follow. And we don't always know how to separate ourselves, especially if you're being fed that from such a young age.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not an easy it's not easy to be different in a society that rewards conformity. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing is really going back to being the original, and feeling well, and embracing that, and surrendering to the original that you are, the individual that you are, the unique person you are. Because I totally believe that together, so thinking about all the people, um, conformity is like we are lost and stuck, and it's boring, And I think whenever someone contributes to the whole with the individuality, that is progress, that is magic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I totally love working in this field.
Yeah, and also I suppose why I think we connected initially on the octopus movement, and then had the amazing Chris Michelle, whose name often comes up when I meet amazing people, connected us again. So it is about connection. I think connection is quite an important theme for us as humans, um, but to connect individually instead of becoming one of a group. Um, I don't know how you see that distinction between how do we connect without losing ourselves.
What an important and interesting question. So, the first thought that came to my mind before you said the last part, the first, but I just touch upon the first thought that I had. And then maybe if I don't forget about the last one, I touch upon this as well. So, the first part that came to me was when you just look into the world of business coaching or coaching, because we just said coaching, we don't like the word so much.
Yeah.
It is all this run of a mill cookie cutter approach thing where you should be one amongst many, and if you don't fit in, then you didn't put in the work. um,
Yep.
and same at school. If you if you stand out somehow, then maybe you're too much. You're labeled ADHD,
Yes.
or you are a dreamer, then you are ADD, and let's put them back into normal. And so I think this one size fits all thinking doesn't work. And so the individual connection, be it in school or in a coaching program or even in a networking call in a community like this one,
Mm.
it is so important to really look at the individual strengths, challenges, gifts, tools, aspects, colors. I
Yeah.
like colors.
Me
um,
too.
so yeah, that everyone is seen and heard,
Yes.
um, and doing this in an individual way, and not just talking to the crowds. Um,
Yes.
and
Yes.
especially, and this is the next thought, and I don't know if this was the way that you wanted to go. I think about artificial intelligence,
Mm.
especially when we think about how I think so many posts or maybe even books are now written by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I think we only can stick to being humans, being individuals. That is our biggest factor
Mm.
to not being scared about the movement that is going on right now. But yeah,
Yeah.
connecting to the individual and the individual aspects of someone.
Yeah. And to be creative, I think that's what we are supposed to be. I feel sometimes, and I know we're all different, and uh, you know I've been working with the Enneagram, and learning a bit about human design, and all these things, and we all obviously very different in all aspects, but for us to find a creative outlet or to create, I think, is a basic human instinct, I'd like to say. And to have something to help us in that, which AI can do. I must
Mhm.
say, ChatGPT has not been in my good books today because it's just, I don't know, it sometimes you can prompt it and you don't need to change too much, but today
Yeah,
it's just not really integrating thoughts, and so it always will need that human
yeah,
element to it, and
definitely.
hopefully we can use it to be more creative instead of to not be what we're supposed to be, and
Yeah.
to let it do whatever we need it to do, what we don't want to do. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's easy though, because the world wants to feed us fear. It seems to be.
Always. Always. Yeah,
Yeah.
and this has been the thing. Is it right to say ever since? Just
Yeah.
think of religion,
Yeah.
think of the educational system, think of how to raise a kid. Back then, it's
Yeah.
always fear based,
Yeah.
and fear makes people walk into the same direction. They are
Yes.
easier to handle, and yeah.
Yeah.
So I have been having these discussions in the last like 2, 3 weeks. It always comes to this point of fear based living. Right now, there was the COVID thing that was around fear.
Yeah.
And so the most or the best thing, I think this is the best course of action to walk away from fear. If we don't have this frequency of fear,
Yeah.
um, we make it.
Yeah. And that often means that we need to separate ourselves from the pack, because it is, it's just what's done. We listen to the news and we do this, and we prescribe um, to whatever we are told. So I suppose it's that authoritarian, authoritarian kind of outlook to life.
Yeah.
That there's always someone else that is responsible, and I am only here to do whatever I'm told, which has never
Yeah.
really worked very well for me at all.
For me, not either.
Yeah. So the rebels and the misfits, I think, are starting to find each other more and more, and creating a new version of our own reality, I suppose.
And this is a good point, because you had this last part in the question, and
Yeah.
so you said connecting the rebels or misfits, and this is so great if you personally connect to people like-minded but different-minded.
Yeah.
Um, so with the same common denominator, but being individually driven.
That's it.
I think that's such a powerful movement that is going on
Yeah.
with people. And so I feel this when we two connected,
Yeah.
and we shared from our hearts. There was this immediate connection, which is so powerful.
Yeah. It is. And I mean, this is the magic, I think, of the world that we're living in at the moment, is that we can connect over long distances and different lifestyles, and all of that. It doesn't really matter that much anymore. We can really find the people that um, remind us of our inner wisdoms, and the things that we have started to forget. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me more about your tools. We also had a chat a little while ago about a new kind of thing that you're creating. I don't know if you're ready to tell me a little bit more about that, um, which I suppose uses all these tools with a touch of magic.
Yeah. So this was just in a situation where I didn't know what to apply when I worked with a client,
Yeah.
as she refused to dive into the topic that she brought to the table in a creative way. She didn't want to get rid of the blockages in the way that we usually worked on. And there was nothing that really could land for her. And so I invited her to some sort of meditation. And I was not sure where this is going to lead the two of us. And so over this course of time, that was like half an hour, something new was created. It was created just by applying it and just by being guided through the wonderful client who refused to take what I brought and what I knew so far. And
Yeah.
so I now call it the Soul Sync Alchemy method,
Yeah.
which I then use when people do not wish to go back into past stories, past trauma, or if they are simply not able to connect to what is holding them back. Because with all the experiences, and if you believe in past lives, then just think how many things could be the root cause of you feeling stuck or blocked.
Yeah.
So this method brings resolution just by being guided through the higher self. And that was such a wonderful process that simply unfolded. And it was so powerful because, in the end, without knowing what exactly were all the blockages, she had this experience of being so empowered. So she said, I stand there tall, protected, and empowered. And that was such a great feedback
Yeah.
um, for a method that I haven't used before.
And that's so amazing. It's when we get out of the way sometimes
Yeah.
and out of our heads, that's where the amazing things tend to happen. But it's so difficult sometimes because you want to know how and where and you know what the steps are going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, amazing for actually just
And
allowing it.
as you said, yeah, so this is from the inside out. So if I sat down and tried to figure out the soul sync alchemy method, I couldn't.
Yeah,
And it was just trusting the process. And I just trusted that something would come up. And then I applied what I knew, and I added something, and I put some sparkle on it and a little magic. And then
yeah.
it worked. And I was guided by my intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, which is amazing. It's difficult sometimes to listen because we're busy. It's like,
Yeah.
not now, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Um, so tell me a little bit more about the other tools that you use, because
Mhm.
you also use human design. You have a podcast or a podcast in the making, and you do some very interesting things. I'd love to know more.
Okay, so another 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So yes, human design. This tool came to me not because I was so keen on learning human design. I even refused to dive deeper into human design about 10 years ago when I discovered it first.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it is boxing people in, and it is something that doesn't allow to look left or right or up or
Yeah.
down. It is so like, oh, yes, you are a manifestor or a generator.
Yeah.
Ah, I don't want that. And then 4.5 years ago, I heard human design all over the place and everywhere. And so I decided to make an apprenticeship and to dive deeper into what it has to offer. And what I found is that it is a wonderful tool that combines so many things in one. That is astrology, and that is scientific approaches like quantum physics and the chakra system
Mm.
and the Kabbalah and the I Ching. And so it's all like an overlay. And by simply using the birth time and the place where someone is born and the city or town, it gives you an energetic blueprint, like a fingerprint of someone.
Yeah.
And it offers people to discover strength, hidden strength, or discover what else is possible for them.
Mm.
It helps them to make easier decisions,
Yeah.
um, and be more aligned with their true nature. and it is not boxing anyone in, but it is opening up to what else is possible.
Yeah.
And that's why I totally love it when it comes to career or health or relationship or sometimes even money issues. Um, it is a great start, and sometimes it's a great tool in between when people want to dive deeper into that.
Yeah. And it's quite a involved system. I mean, it's not just you one of these five things and that's how you are. There's so much in there. There's the conscious and the unconscious, or the subconscious, and there is the gates and the channels, and how we influence each other, I suppose, from that blueprint
Yeah.
perspective. So
Yeah.
there's a lot to work in there, or work with in there. Yeah, for people to
It,
understand
it,
themselves.
it is really complex.
Yeah,
And this leads me because you talked about the podcast that I'm in the making.
yeah,
So up to now, I am at episode 10. So I'm about to really air them
yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Um, and it is called Magnificence. And this is an empowerment podcast that shines a light and strikes a match on the magnificence of people through the lens of human design.
mm,
And over the course of time, I loved varying, looking at the the design chart of my guests in a very different way, which offers different insights into human design or a little bit of the gene keys. And depending on the guest and the chart and what we talk about, I quickly jump to the factor that stands out.
yeah,
And so it is such a win-win situation because it offers the audience to learn more about my amazing guest and to learn more about how to apply human design.
yeah,
So this is, yeah, I can't wait to have it out there,
yeah.
and I hope that people will like it.
I think it's brilliant. Um, I mean, I got some really good insights from there as well. I'm kind of learning bits by bits, and yeah, it was amazing to look at it from a everyday kind of stance of, this means that. Have you experienced that? Oh yes, that makes sense now. So yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of those aha moments, I think.
Yeah, and so it is so interesting when people are not familiar with spirituality. I
Yes.
had an amazing podcast guest just the other day, and he said, I never heard about this, but this makes me think. And this makes me really dive deep into stuff. And this is something that I really love. And so, yeah, that was really some validation for the value of the podcast.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And the conversations, I think it's that conversational space
yeah,
where we haven't really always gone to, especially from a business
yeah.
coaching kind of perspective. It's always been, this is your type, and this is why
Mhm.
this is what you must do with your career, or this is why this is not happening, or
Yeah,
this is happening. And instead using it as a starting point of a conversation which goes
yeah,
deeper into who we really are, because I think those lines between life and business have blurred for a lot of people, especially
yeah,
through COVID times, and all that kind of brought us back. I think it had its benefits in a way, in that it made us see ourselves as fuller beings instead of separated from home and work.
totally. Yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't agree more. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, then you said, and what other tools? So the other tools or methods that I use, apply are so
Very.
varied. So there is a lot of creativity in my work.
Yeah.
So I love soul art.
Yeah.
which is an amazing method if you want to figure out your next step.
Yeah.
And you don't want to figure it out just by brainstorming or asking your intelligent mind, but
Mhm.
you want to really get out of your head and into your creativity and
Yeah.
into your body. Then soul art is an amazing tool to set an intention and go through a process of letting go of the outcome, using your body as a framework, and in the end, getting, and this is again from the inside out,
Yeah.
really leveraging the knowledge and wisdom of the body and your creativity to get some real amazing answers to your question, because in the end you're going to dialogue with your piece of artwork,
Yeah.
and it gives you the most amazing insights and you can apply them in real life with a tangible action. So I
Amazing.
really
Tell me
like.
more. How does it work? Like, do you have a big canvas? Do you kind of walk around it? Is it a movement
Yeah.
space as well?
So you can vary the way you do it, and so if you really dive deep into the soul art process, then it is like setting the intention and going deep into what the real intention is, and then it's there could be some movement
Yeah.
before you use this big piece of paper or poster or canvas, and you position yourself on this piece of paper, and you find a position or two or three where the body feels so aligned with the intention. You
Oh,
feel it, and then someone just makes the outline of your body and with a felt tip or any sort of pen,
yeah.
and then in the end you have one or two outlines of your body.
Oh, yeah.
And then the magic starts, because then do not think about, oh, that could be this, that could be that, and when I think about my intention, it is just letting go. And there are some creativity portals that I do with the people that I work with, so that they can really get out of their head, and then they can use collage, they can use natural material, they can use paint,
Yeah.
they can whatever,
Yeah.
whatever petals they
Yeah.
can, and then they can be as creative as they wish. They can paint with their fingers. Once I painted with my feet because I was called to do that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And in the end, you see the whole piece of artwork is amazing. You will like it. And there are so many answers to the question that you had on your mind. And you will find a tangible action step into the right direction.
Mm. And
Um,
you would have been able to express yourself in whatever form. Yeah.
yeah, and if there is a time limit, so this is a thing that is over a couple of days, because you can't focus on this big painting all the time, and then there is a point where you feel like, oh, I don't know how to go on, and I don't want to make it up.
Yeah.
You can make it smaller, and sometimes I do it just with using parts of the body.
Okay. Oh, wow. And Diana, hi Diana. Thanks for joining
Hi.
us. Um, she's saying she's done work like this before in a shadow workshop. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean that's also I can see how that can fill in to
yeah,
this as well to connect with your shadow self, I suppose. Um,
yeah.
that sounds amazing. That's literally from the well outside in, I suppose more
Both
because you're
both
putting yourself
ways.
out there. Yeah,
It is both ways, yeah, and I like
yeah,
it. And I love doing that with kids as well. So I do that
yeah.
every Tuesday with some Montessori kids, and they like it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So I suppose in essence, there's many roads to Rome. Is that a saying? I don't know. but there's
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
many ways. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, and so we could extend this to so many more methods, but I think the best is to really have this holistic approach and to always rely on what is inside of you and what wants to come out and what wants to show up in the world. And I just listened to an audiobook this morning when I was driving in my car, and she said it is kind of selfish when you don't show up as the person that you really are with all your gifts, and when you hold back, when you
Mm,
don't shine your light, because that is not being of service for the others in the world. And I
yeah.
really think everyone in his or her own way should express who he or she it is from the inside out and trust that
Yes.
this is exactly the perfect way of showing up.
Yeah. Well, that is my whole theory, and why I've changed everything with into the wisdom seeker society, and with
Yeah.
instinctive living, is I think we all have all this wisdom, and all the answers, and all the things we need within, but we get so caught up in the outside world and the survival often,
Yeah.
that we forget, and we need people to show up as we do, as who they are authentically, to remind us sometimes, because we're all here to walk each other home, really. And if we're not authentically ourselves, then I don't really see the point.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah. um,
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I just, when I listened to you, I just thought, so this soul art is one way to really access this creative and intuitive world, and there are so many more. And I just thought, if so, and there is something for everyone, because I just thought of this really easy way of finding the next best step when you do this vision quest or vision walk. I don't know if you ever did it.
no.
This is one of my beloved techniques because um, it is so easy to apply. And maybe we should make something up and create something that as many as possible people can participate in a 1 hour of vision walk where they get answers to their most pressing question.
Okay, well, tell
Really
me
is.
first more, our vision, how does it work? What do you do?
So this is really cool stuff. This is because people think this is just, yes, you walk in your imagination and then you come to your vision. No, it is, you can really ask anything, anything that you wish to find an answer for. And then there is a deep, so once you have the question, you stick
Yeah.
to the question. And then there is a deep meditation. This meditation is wonderful. It
Hmm.
really gets you totally out of your head. And I can say this because I'm someone who is sometimes a lot in her head.
Yeah.
It gets you into the heart space, and it connects you to this question.
Mm.
And finally, you release the question like ask and it is given.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you are in this meditative space that is like really being in a different world. And
Yeah.
then when you open your eyes, you are released to go on a walk, on a literal walk. That could
Okay.
be inside your room, that could be
Yeah.
inside your building. You could go outside like
Mm.
20 minutes to 30 minutes of walking,
Mm.
and you feel so guided. And
Yeah.
whatever shows up is part of what you are seeking. And you will be surprised that things show up that really that are so amazing, that really give you the answer. And even if people think like, oh, there was nothing,
Yeah.
then when sharing it in the group with the others, then oftentimes they figure out, yes, but there was this blockage and I did this and that, and then there was this soft breeze, and I heard this dog and something happened. And
Yeah.
they all find definitely find their answer.
Ooh, that's amazing. We're doing a little bit more now in the Wisdom Seeker Society. So
Mhm.
we have these um, gifts that we bring to the tribe, and
Mhm.
I think that would be quite a interesting um, thing to do. To experience something like that on your own, but knowing that there are others doing something similar makes it a
Yeah,
little bit of a deeper experience, I think, especially with the feedback on
yeah,
wording, on putting experiences into or relaying them
yeah,
brings more of it out, I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. So I
Yeah.
mean, you've really moved a lot from the system into creating a world of possibilities through using different tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. What a lovely feedback.
It sounds amazing, and it must be quite exciting to see what it does for people, and how it changes people's worlds. Really,
Yeah.
yeah. And you do this online as well. I've just
I most of the time do this online because
Yeah.
most of the time I'm connected with English speaking audience or English speaking clients. I started doing a little bit of work, like local work,
Mm.
and work with German speaking clients. But so most of the time I work online, but I totally would love to create a retreat because I am a people person and I want to meet those amazing people in person. So this is also in the making,
Oh,
maybe for the beginning of next year
yeah.
to create something like a retreat space. But most of the time it's online.
So far.
So far.
Yes. I've put your link there at the bottom, so people can find you and what you do, because there's amazing things on there, and I love the colors and the softness on your website. It's gorgeous. Um, there was something else I wanted to. Oh, you brought this up to me, and I've been telling other people about this, about astro mapping. Is that right?
Cartography. Cartography.
Astrocartography. I always get it mixed up, which is fascinating to me. I'm still struggling. My brain doesn't know how to read the lines and understand it, but I'm getting there. But that also works on energy. I mean, it's such a powerful idea, really. Even though I can't yet pinpoint the lines, which I need to. It's amazing, and it also works on your birth chart, really, where and when you were born. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not an expert in this, but I got the recommendation from someone and
Yes.
I tried it out. And it is interesting, really
Yeah.
interesting to figure out places that activate something in you or that are more or less pleasant for your experience. And there are places that you thrive in
Yeah.
business or in relationship. And then there are places you should possibly avoid. And so
Yeah.
that was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing. Actually, Britta was with me last month, and she had also done her
Mhm.
chart, and she did some traveling to Europe to some of these places. She's living in California at the moment. She's German but lives in California, and she found it very interesting. I think Vienna was one of the places that kind of stood out for her, and she had an what she says was amazing. It was definitely a good energy fit. But yeah, yeah. So
So
very
my best place to live is Bhutan.
oh.
I just saw an amazing workshop
Yeah.
with someone that I would love to do this workshop. It's like 10 days or 2 weeks, but it is incredibly expensive to go to Bhutan and have this guided and yeah, this guided tour and the content. So this is maybe something to really visit on my own. But
Yeah,
Bhutan would be an interesting place to visit.
I can imagine. It's I don't know. Is it as friendly to women as we'd like it to be, though?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
I've
And
got it mixed up with something.
it is the place where they it's all about the happiness factor. So
Okay. Ooh, that sounds like a great place in
yeah,
general. Yeah, amazing. I could talk to you for hours,
we
but I'm
could.
going to. We will have you back within the Wisdom Seeker Society next Thursday at
Right.
4 p.m. BST, so 5 p.m. your time. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you have up your sleeve and to learn even more from you. Um, so yeah, that would be amazing. It's part of the Wisdom Seekers. It's free for members, and if anybody wants to go to the site link, there's also our Eventbrite if you want to join as a guest. Um, and yeah, thank you so much, Patricia. I love chatting to you. I can just do it for hours and learn more and more.
It's the same for me, and I'm so grateful that you invited me. And yeah, it is a pleasure, an honor, and yeah, I can't wait to reconnect next week.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you.
Thank you.